The Apex Plasma Master is a really weak Paragon in comparison to every other Paragon in the game. But what about a map which can fully utilize the power of the Apex Plasma Master by literally having a completely closed off area? Well, that's what I created with this map, a triangle, because a triangle requires the fewest amount of points in order to make an enclosed space. On round 10 we can place down our first farm of the day. It's not going to be too evolved. We're not going to be using a Monkeyopolis. Banana Central and some banana research facilities will get us all of the money that we require in order to build the one and only Apex Plasma Master. If you're looking for the absolute maximum route of money optimization, you would have auto start off, but we're not gonna go for that. Perhaps for a soon in the future when the submarine Paragon comes out, how about we get all 8 Paragons solo level 100? That sort of thing does require maximum optimization because I want to get the Paragons as soon as possible. Let's place down our second farm over here, which we're going to go up to a 202, because what that will do is if you buy it with the bottom cross path, it enables you to sell the tower at a higher value by 10%. Which is something I've not really ever discovered, because I think, why would anyone ever pursue bottom cross path when you're mainly going for the top path and so on and so forth? Like, that just seems like the most biggest waste of money ever. We could possibly get away with this now. Oh, I needed a few more months there, but guess what? I think we're gonna be okay in all this, just as long as I can actually pop these regrows, which will be fantastic. Thank you very much. It should be the last one here. Oh, the loveliness of regrows, say Paragons there. That's a completely different related thing going on here. Now we've got a crossbow on the field, hopefully our regrow related issues will be mostly solved. It depends on how much pierce is required if all the regrows are clumped up together. But now we have ourselves a different issue going on here, and that is round 28. What does round 28 have? Leads. So therefore, we're going to need tier 4 of the top path in order to be able to do this in. And as you can tell, because of the fact that we have all of these walls here, it means that the projectiles, hopefully, cannot... One of them escaped north there. How do projectiles do that? This is a completely closed off space, and yet the snowballs are able to escape? Blasphemy! Ninja Gateway, please fix your mechanics on this so that we will be able to have an entirely closed off space, and within that enclosed space, no balloons are no projectiles are able to escape, unless of course they have some special properties that enables them to go over obstacles, like let's say with an alchemist, or the tier 4/tier 5 of the Super Monkey Chain. Or there's also Ultra Vision as well, which enables you to do that same thing, providing you have the I think it's a particular trait within the Magic Monkey knowledge tree that enables Ultra Vision to bypass obstacles. I've literally forgotten about our progress with our rare Quincy action figure, and now it's time to sell one of my farms and go for a BRF so that we get even more monies from our farm here. We've got overclock so that we can buff the production rate of our banana research facility while also creating more crates per round. Also at round 39, which means round 40 should enable us to encounter a Moab. And speaking of the beast, there we go. But this is only the beginning of this run. So I'm going to put you with that so that I don't have to constantly keep tapping the overclock on you. But we will be going for more farms. More farms for our riches. Also to fund for the Apex Plasma Master level 100, degree 100, the ultimate Paragon of all time when you put it in the right circumstances. Does anybody want some fertilizer? No? Okay, well I'm sure these farms would appreciate the fertilizer nonetheless. And combine it with the overclocked banana farm, we will be getting even more money than we would normally do otherwise. So I'm going to put another farm here, and then I'm going to put you three under a city, so that hopefully you will produce even more money than usual. Okay, we're going to be putting a Grim Reaper here to auto gather, so I don't have to have my mouse over here all the time now. Thank you, Grim Reaper. I thoroughly appreciate you. Jumped a few rounds ahead in time because not a huge amount has happened. A few modes have appeared, not a lot has gone on here, but we're essentially quite comfortable as we are with just these 3 towers popping, but we are going to be upgrading these to tier 5. We will be getting the middle path tier 5, but I want to litter this entire area with Super Monkey fan clubs, 19 of them, alongside the Plasma Monkey fan club, and then fill the rest of the space with what we have left with these juggernauts, so that we'll be able to utilize the space as much as we can. But I do want to get a perma-brew and perma-brew all of these so that, well, they're able to dish out more power, because even though this is a very ideal setup, we're going to get Banana Central now, a very ideal setup for this. I put you on the wrong one, but no matter. This is a very ideal setup for this particular town. I'm going to do that right now, and for you, and for you. I do want to ensure that within these rounds, I will be able to actually get the Paragon itself, which is why I am doing this. It's not the best, probably not the best way. I could have done this so that I would have a Monkeyopolis. I'm not going to go for it. This is not going to be the most optimized route, but it is a route that works and will get us to our intended goal. But we have ourselves an even more improved setup at the moment. We have ourselves a support Chinook so that we can move this alchemist out of the way, and then once it alchemizes this juggernaut, we'll be able to bring this to where Geraldo's. Geraldo? You kind of look like Geraldo in a way, where the permabrew is at the moment. So let's continue on doing this strategy for the moment. Hopefully you won't be able to pop any balloons where you are, although the permabrew does have a big range, which in some cases could be a little bit of an issue, but not a gigantic one. It's just a very small thing going on. Also, if you're wondering why I have tech bots over here, 4 of them are going to be for the balloon sabos, and 1 of them will be for the glue storm. The glue storm will be paired with a primary mentoring, and I'm going to put a portable lake so that I'll be able to put an energizer on board. And with both of those together, will ensure 100% uptime of the glue storm's ability, which is kind of handy for that +2 damage. And you're probably wondering, +2 damage, that's really insignificant. Every little helps, and it will get 0 damage as long as you don't have corrosive glue on it. We're doing very well money-wise, but we're still not there yet. We're gonna get Geraldo to level 20 now, which means we can start placing down these Paragon power totems, and we want these as much as possible so that we have as many on the field as soon as we can and get the level 100 as soon as we can. Yes, we can get it right now, but A, we cannot contribute enough money to it, and B, it will not be level 100 even if we can put the maximum amount that we can down on easy mode, which is just over 400,000. Like in each mode, like easy, medium, hard, and poppable, they all have a different amount in which you can contribute, which is the maximum amount. Now, the contribution is depending on the difficulty, so therefore it is based on percentage rather than just the sheer amount. So therefore, like let's say on Impoppable, you will require, I think it's about 600,000, I believe it is. I'm not too sure. I haven't tested it myself. I don't do these sort of things on Impoppable mode because of the increased prices and the increased speed of the balloons themselves. They don't move any faster than they are on hard. but it's still a factor in and of itself to remember. But just be wary. We have these also paired with prime mentoring so that they have increased pierce, projectile speed, range, and also as well the polymer brew because self-explanatory. Before update 39, just from the eye test, if you forget to put down a Paragon power totem, so let's say if you have 2 of 2 and you place down one on the if you forget to put one down on the round, you get 2 of 2, you place both of them down. In the following round, one of them will not regenerate. But nowadays, in update 39, from the eye test, if you place down both, even if you forget to place one down already, then one will always regenerate, which is kind of forgiving, because the mechanics of the game were beforehand, you always had to place one down if you want to maximize the amount of Paragon power totems that were generated throughout the game. But I think the most important quality of life change in update 39 is that you have this counter above it so that you know how many you place down. Otherwise you would have to count them individually, and sometimes you forget where you place them. So thank you ever so much, Nizukuri. I've said this so many times throughout videos recently, but I am truly appreciative of it, especially as somebody who does videos on trying to get every single Paragon at degree level 100. It's a very niche thing, but I love doing it, and I'm probably one of the, probably in the minority when it comes to Bloons tubers that actually covers a very late game content. The only other Bloons tuber that I know of that covers ultra late game is Mac and Rules, and some of their achievements, like going up to like round 600, is bloody awesome to say the least. But I can only imagine how much time it takes to get through rounds. Do you know what this game actually reminds me of in a way? It reminds me, if you've played it yourself, you know exactly what I mean. It reminds me of Call of Duty Zombies, round-based zombies, where the further you go along, the more zombies that appear throughout the round. Aside from like World at War, Nocturne, Toten, Baruch, and Shinonuma, where there's only a cap of 24 zombies, but then Doris came and a change was implemented into the rounds where more zombies would appear throughout the rounds, and therefore you would always be running into ammo issues and other sort of bugs that appears throughout the game. Like every single game has kind of like a 32-bit integer or a 64-bit integer that limits the number of things in which you can really interact with within a particular given point in time. Like any interaction, sound, thing going on for a game adds to the integer, and if you try and exceed that integer, then something bad is going to happen to the game. So let's say I know this is going off tangent here, but it's a game that I've played in my pastime, but I was really loving until like, I think Cold War was my last experience of zombies where I really enjoyed it. Vanguard was just I don't think anybody's going to disagree with that. Who here likes Vanguard zombies? Crickets. I'm sorry, but that was like the first year I was like, I absolutely refused to buy COD because of it, and I'm kind of glad. Like, I think the greatest COD Zombies game was Black Ops 3. Black Ops 4, I think, is underrated, but definitely a step down from Black Ops 3. Black Ops 2, I think, was the most, like, it was my personal favorite. Black Ops 1, when it came to map quality, was definitely some of my favorites. Like, I really loved, like, Ascension at the time. But then, like, Black Ops 3 came around, Ascension's like, okay, that's an okay map. Round 100 also. So it's like, both this game and COD Zombies has a kind of a similar thing going on, to where the further along you go within the rounds, the more difficult it becomes, but also it's a game of patience. You need a lot of patience if you want to go very far, and you have to dive so much time into the craft. You have to put a lot of your time if you want to go ultra late game. So It's not something that I really do regularly because it drains so much time. I do it because I, at times, really enjoy doing it and I want to pursue a personal achievement. And I'm sure that everyone watching here can kind of understand that even if you don't emphasize, you were able to at least sympathize with, well, he likes doing a certain thing and we can applaud him for doing it. It wouldn't be something that I would personally do, but I can understand why and where he is coming across. I should put down a homeland defense in this given scenario, but nah, I keep forgetting to put down these Paragon Power Totems. So if you ever played both this game and like World of War, Black Ops, Zombies, then you'll be able to understand where I'm coming from when it comes to like rounds, how long it takes to go through a round, how difficult it can be on some rounds. Also, you notice as well, as time goes on, the more lag becomes about. I'm not too sure on the new maximum amount of pop set that we need in order to be able to get a max level degree Paragon with the minimal amount of Paragon power totems required, along as well with the cost as well. I've heard that the costs have greatly decreased when it comes to the number of towers that you need to put down alongside the costs of them as well, but I'm only used to something like 250k of tier 4 or below balloons, and you gotta have like 100 non-tier 5 upgrades and everything along those lines, and make sure you have all tier 5 towers down so that you're able to actually unlock the Paragon option in the first place. Like, that's a system I'm still got stuck in my head, so trying to work out the new mechanics is definitely less, but it's still some. Oh, I could have placed down a dark monkey over here. Oh well, it's a bit too late and I'm not struggling, but you get what I mean. With the pops that we have at the moment, with all of our towers here, will 37 Paragon power totems be enough to get level 100? Yoink all this way to the very end, and let's see. We have... That's just insulting. Level 99? When I did my 7 Paragon level 100 videos, there was a bug at the time where you couldn't have any degree level 99s because it would just crash a game. And if you tried loading back into the game itself, you would have like only degree level 1 Paragons. So update 37.0 was a messy mess in itself. So another round of pops, another totem put down. Can we do it this time, please? Excellent. Now we have a level 100, so we can sell these. We can sell the permabrew because don't need that anymore. We can sell the ultra boost. Do not need that anymore. We're gonna keep this Geraldo. We do not need at all, although his creepy idols could be handy. I just don't think he was able to do a huge amount when it comes to prevention of everything alongside that. So what we're going to be doing next is we're going to be putting down a Glaive Dominus, a Legend of the Night, an Energizer, a Glue Storm, all around a primary mentoring village, and then we will be back. Our setup for the rest of the match is here. We have a level 1 Glaive Dominus. I do not believe the degree level that the Glaive Dominus is at will actually affect the amount that it gives to the Apex Plasma Master. I believe regardless if it's, let's say, level 1 or level 100, the benefits it gives to all primary towers will be exactly the same regardless. We have the Legend of the Night, so that if there is any leaked cases, we'll be able to soak them all up. It just depends on the cooldown of this, actually, because I've heard that this thing is given a huge nerf when it comes to the amount of time that it takes for this to recharge. So even though there might be some that will escape here, there could be a case where we will definitely lose, and we will definitely lose. So put down your predictions in the comment sections below of how far we're going to get with the Apex Plasma Master on this map. Now, the only other bit of microing that I need to do is perfectly time these Sabo abilities so that it will always be active at any given point of time. For the entire rest of the game, all you're going to see projectile-wise is glue and snowballs. Just look at the devastation that this thing provides. Barely any of these snowballs were escaping. I don't know why they do escape. There's no open gaps to where they can escape. So that is that, man. If you really wanted to do the extra mile, you would put down support towers, which would otherwise do damage against the all of these, so that you have like super glue, so be able to permanently store DDTs that escape from the bads. You would have embrittlements and super brittle, so that you everywhere here has them covered, so that you're always able to do extra damage. You would litter everywhere here with shattering shells, so that when the bad is popped, you can instantly remove the fortified status of the DDTs, so that they are half as bad when it comes to their health when destroying them. But you can never remove the wonderful thing called the fortified status off of the ZOMGs and the bad itself. I wish you can, and one day if the the mortar monkey Paragon ever comes out, I wish it has a similar ability to the Knave Arc, where it's like a 2-time around thing, but it's able to completely strip all fortified statuses off of every single balloon on the screen that is present at any given point in time. And that also includes fortified bads. Other things would include the cripple Moab. I would say always pair it with the middle pass, so you can get the shrapnel, which then affects other balloons. Other balloons nearby the one that you initially shot. And ultra booster, obviously, so it fires more often. Other ones would be like the Comanche Commanders, so that you're able to shove DDTs and stuff like that back. Other things involved, actually, I was hovering over the wrong blue there, but not a huge amount really. You would always I'll say this out loud, manually activate Grand Saboteur at the very end of a round, so that when the new round begins, all the balloons will spawn in with reduced health. Because you're going to notice throughout the ultra late game, the balloons spawn out very quickly, but the rounds go on for very long. So in that case, you want it so that all of the all of the balloons that spawn out are all affected by the Grand Saboteur. So therefore, you're only dealing with 75% of the health that you would normally have otherwise. Other things you could put down, I'm not too sure really what could be beneficial when it comes to like a debuff for the towers themselves. Like, I think we've got everything put down here when it comes to like support for the Apex Blaster Master. We've got the Glaive Dominus on the corner there, not doing any damage. We've got the ice towers with the also absolute zero as well, could be beneficial. Activate it periodically when you know that a DDT is about to escape. But then you've also got stuff like the super glue, the glue storm, cripple Mo we mentioned earlier. Don't really want anything that does a huge amount of damage, even though super glue does a big amount of damage. And super brittle, if you let it, allow it to pop a lot of balloons themselves. Our first fortified bad, it is going to be completely decimated in this map by the level 100 Apex Plasma Master. There is just, well, no stopping this thing at this given point in time. I would say we're definitely going to exceed round 200. 250, possibly, round 300. I definitely want to think around 300. Like, that's definitely a thing which we can go towards. But 350, I think, is going to be highly unlikely. Like, remember, this, like, think of each point as it goes on. So this is the first node here where the balloons are going towards now. That's the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. So 7, 8, 11, 14, 17, 20, 23, 26, 29, 32, 35, 38, 41, 47, 48, 49, and then 50 is the very end over here. So therefore, in this state, I would say this is possibly one of the most optimized maps for the Apex Blaster Master. There are probably other maps created by other people which are even more optimized than this one. when it comes to the amount of space that you have versus the effectiveness of the tower itself. I like to think that this map is incredibly effective for this tower because it is an enclosed space, even though that doesn't stop these snowballs from escaping this scenario, which is something I don't understand. I'm sure a lot of you who are a lot better than me at the game and understanding the intricacies and mechanics are able to put down why snowballs or the balls that come out from the Apex Blaster Master escape from this hedged area. Also put rocks here as well, so it provides another means of balance as well in all three of these corners so that they're not trapped in the corner. Bloody hell, rip YouTube bitrate uploading. YouTube doesn't like it when there's a huge amount of projectiles and stuff going on the screen at any given point in time. And with a combination of these snowballs and stuff, it's not going to look great. Hold on. Accessibility. Let's just put this down to, let's say, let's go to 50% and see how it all looks. Okay, that's a little bit better. It doesn't look as impressive though. But at least it's going to be better for the eyes, hopefully. So maybe you appreciate this sort of thing, or maybe you prefer just the extreme chaos of 100%. Also, where's the glue gone now? Surely the glue... Oh, the glue has just disappeared, but at least it's still been stuck to the balloons themselves. So with the glue storm, it's either there or not there. The glue can't be shrunk down. It becomes microscopic enough to be invisible at this point of the game. There isn't a Christmas skin for the bad, so I'm thinking that Pinata is probably the best thing that I could possibly put on it because of candy. Bad is shredded. There's just absolutely no chance. But remember, after round 80, all Moabs and Bloon... Well, actually, just talk about the Moabs in general here. They get a 2% increase in both their HP and the travel speed in which they go at. So it will become a point where we cannot pop these things. Or we can pop them, but then the DDTs will just race to the finish line. Like, it's DDTs that are the biggest threat here. Not from the DDTs initially spawning, but the DDTs that summon out of the bad itself when the bad is popped. Oh, I see why the glue storm is no longer visible. It says full screen effects will no longer show if the scale is below 100. And obviously the glue storm is a full screen effect, and I think that will also go across to the absolute 0 as well. We are currently exceeding the 100 million pop mark when it comes to our Apex Plasma Master. I'll catch up with you with every 20 rounds or so, because this is definitely going to take a while, and trying to comment on everything that we're going to be doing is incredibly monotonous. But I'll come back to you with, like, I'll say the next round's going to be 180, then 200, 220, and so on and so forth, because this is definitely a challenge in and of itself. Although we may, yeah, I'll probably come back when it's like ultra late game, when we're really struggling. Glaive Dominus buff, Paragon of Power buff. It's all buffs around here when it comes to Apex Plasma Master, and we are closing in on that 200 million pop counter. I believe we'll probably get it like 185. Remember, as time goes on, the amount of pops you will get will dramatically increase, and it's like around 180 to 200. This is possibly going to be probably doubled. I'm not going to lie, it'll probably be doubled by that time, and we are still having absolutely no issues. The bads are not making it round the triangle at all, even when it comes to like the halfway marker for the bad itself. They are always getting completely destroyed. So that's where we are at the game, and we are causing absolute havoc. In comparison to my previous video dedicated to the Apex Blaster Master, I'm not concerned about an early game defeat. Like in our previous video covering Apex Blaster Master, we lost on round 200 when it came to the second fortified band that spawned out. And aside from round 200, 163, and round 263, sorry, any round past 140 is a randomly generated number of balloons that will spawn. So you're going to get a random amount of RBE that's going to spawn on that round. So therefore, you could be very lucky and get like a bunch of ZMGs, or you could be incredibly unlucky and get yourself a bunch of bads. But then from round 200 onwards, so after round 200, sorry, you are always going to get fortified bads within the mix, but only if you're incredibly lucky. You won't be getting fortified bads. But if you're looking for the highest pop count possible when going to a particular round, you always want those fortified bads because they contribute the most amount of pops if you're looking to get the most amount of pops possible with a single tower. And on this map in particular, this is incredibly strong, this tower is. When we last checked in, we had about 170 million pops. Well, our pop count has now more than doubled that since then, and it's only going to go up. So I think in the next 20 rounds or so, this pop count is going to double again, which is absolutely bonkers. And we are still not having issues when it comes to bads. They're not even making their way around a full triangle. So let's say the triangle is starting over here and it makes its way all the way around. It is not making it the entire way around the triangle, but the plus 2% in both health and speed is accumulative, so it pluses 2% on to the previous stack. So plus 2%, then plus 2% onto the new value, and then go from there. It's not a fixed increase when it comes to raw numbers, it's a fixed increase when it comes to its percentage on top of the new number of terms of its health and the speed that it goes at. That's why late game goes on for so long, and it is so utterly dangerous and time consuming, and you always need to be prepared. So when it comes to the Glaive Dominus, apparently it gives a 11.1% attack speed buff to all primary towers, including Paragons, but not itself. So therefore only gets one of the buffs that a Paragon would have. Level 200, we have ourselves 400 million pops at this given point in time. We've got two bads. Oh, they're making it a full way around the triangle, but only about 1/4 way around the triangle. And also set our our Apex Master to strong, so it's always targeting a fortified bad. And speaking of fortified bads, after round 200, you are guaranteed to get them within the mix of balloons that will spawn out. We're now sitting at 660 million pops as we are closing in on round 220. And the regular bads are able to make it a full circuit around here now, but the fortified ones are able to make it like 2-4 circuits around the track here. Yeah, as soon as a fortified bad comes out here, the targeting, because I sit on strong, always goes to the first fortified bad on the track itself. And yeah, it's going to be one of these kind of DDTs that are going to be the end of our run. Not the bad itself, but the DDT that comes out of the bad. And it's going to be very unlikely it's going to be under the effects of a Bloon Sabo, because it's a global ability that doesn't affect the children of parent balloons. Just doing a little bit of research, and I kind of regretted saying what I said about the Grand Saboteur earlier being something that we can use, or actually any of these. If you want to fully maximize the Apex Plasma Master here, just get a degree level 1 Ascended Shadow and place it in the far corner, and hopefully it doesn't attack any balloons. So therefore, I'm reading this right, all balloons on screen, excluding bads and bosses, are permanently slowed to half speed, while all non-boss balloons have their maximum HP reduced by 25% upon spawning. The former, so all balloons on screen are permanently slowed to half speed, the former includes the children of every balloon as well. So that is probably why the balloon sabotage does not affect children balloon. because the Paragon can do what this cannot, which is affect Children Bloon. Rather than just being an overall global ability, it just affects the balloons that spawn from the start, and if it's able to activate and catch any Children Bloons. Also, we are nearing that 1 billion. Oh, we're gonna get it this round actually. 1 billion pops. There we go, and there it is. 1 billion pops with the Apex Plasma Master on this map, which I call Ultra Jug 1TC, because you can get an Ultra Juggernaut 1 tower chimps on this map. It is a tower that theoretically can get a 1 tower chimp, but it requires an ultra specific kind of map, and it needs to be having enough length to the map itself so that you can actually utilize the fullest potential of the Ultra Juggernaut itself. And did you see how fast those DDTs go? They're only going to go faster from this point onwards, trust me. Reading the Apex Plasma, so at degree level 100, it fires roughly every 0.2348 seconds. So when you give it a plus 11.1 attack speed bonus from the Glaive Dominus, then it should probably be, I don't know my maths here, but it should be 0.19 something or along those lines. Yeah, extracted like 23 and then a little bit more from there, so it is definitely 1.9. I would say it's definitely 1.95 something, or definitely 1.96, or definitely 1.97, somewhere along those lines of like how fast this thing fires. But it also has 500 pierce and 40 damage per projectile that it fires out. But because it fires at such a huge rate, just look at all the damage that it does. Now, if there's only a single fortified bad, it's not going to get a big amount of pop count increase when it comes to all the other times on the level, or the round in this case. So, in this case, we have nearly only bads left. And when you only have bads left, well, you only get hundreds of thousands every second if you have fast forward on. But, okay, now it's only tens of thousands with only this. Do Paragons do reduced damage against... Oh, do towers in general do reduced damage against bads as the rounds progress? Or is it just because of the fact... Oh my god, look at the amount of damage that we're getting! But it's still a thing, because you feel like as time goes on, your towers do less damage against these balloons, these enemies. So what is the equation in that? And these fortified ZMGs are lasting for a little bit of time as well, so don't slap on the power of the ZMG. Just because it's slow doesn't mean it's tanky. It's just not as tanky as these big pinata boys. 1 3/4 billion pops by our wonderful Apex Plasma Master friend here, and we are still going strong despite the fact that fortified bads are making their way around here several times now. I wouldn't say it's in the double digits, but it is getting pretty close to the halfway mark when it comes to the amount of track that it is going around. Round 270, and things are, well, very slow nowadays. Trying to go through rounds is a bit of a chore. Now it's taking multiple minutes on fast forward to be able to complete a round. So because of these fortified bands that keep appearing themselves on the map here, and the DTs are making their way around the map surprisingly at a frightening pace. So I'm worried that we may not be able to do this before round 300, which is what I am thinking that we will be able to achieve when it comes to the maximum number of, let's say, rounds in every 100 and something like that. But when it comes to the exact round, I'm not too sure on that one. We'll have to wait and see what happens from here on out, because this is a very long, patient waiting game now. I'm just waiting to see how long this goes on for. We are nearly at the 2.5 5 billion marker. This is for hundreds. This is for thousands. This is for millions. And this 2 right here, that's billions, baby. Progress report. We're still going strong here. 2.8 billion pops with the Apex Plasma Master. And when it comes to like the number of pops that we get, so let's say this is 2.84 and this is 277. We are getting more like pops than we are getting rounds when it comes to like every 10 million pops when it comes to every round. So we're having more pops of 10 million in comparison to the number of rounds in which we are now at. That is how many pops you are able to accumulate very late within this section of the game. This is what I definitely want to call late game, not ultra late game, but late game. Ultra late game is like high 300s, 400s, 500s, or super ultra late game 600, 700 if you're able to bloody get to that point. Honestly, I think with custom maps you are able to do that, honestly. With like the world's longest map and stuff like that, you'll probably be able to get to 700. It's just a matter of getting all that power down and having enough track length and able to fully utilize the track itself, and then you'll be able to do that. Like with the world's longest map by Kite Byte, I believe that's how you pronounce their Steam or their username on this game. With that particular track, you're able to really utilize Ray of Doom's Pierce because there's going to be so many balloons on the track at any given point in time. That, well, you're able to utilize his power. It's probably going to be even more powerful than the Mad itself against everything, really, just because of its sheer Pierce count. And we are approaching that 3 billion marker when it comes to the number of pops, and we have got it on round 279. Gosh, 3 billion pops. If we get to round 300, are we able to break the 4 billion pop marker? We shall see, and we shall find out in this episode of Bloons Tower Defense 6, where we are testing out the true potential of the Apex Plasma Master. But if you really want to go full hand, which this is 85% of the way there, then you would place down an Ascended Shadow so that you'll be able to get every single tower out with 25% less health than they would normally have. But then again, this would have less pops at this stage of the game because the Ascended Shadow would take away 25% all of the time, aside from the children that spawn out of the spawned balloons. So it's probably a little less than 25%, but since a lot of the balloons in the RBE is mainly entirely from the bads themselves, almost entirely, sorry, then, well, it probably is close enough to 25%. I'll say 24.5% of the total RBE that exists on a particular time, because bads are such annoying bests. Around 279 to around 281, we accumulated over 100 million pops. And look at all of these bads circulating around. So I'd say we are definitely over 50% of the way when it comes to this. And the progress is only going to get worse because of the fact that every 2% increase is accumulative rather than fixed. If it was fixed, then these balloons would have A, far less health, and B, far less travel speed. We are at 3.75 billion pops as we are closing in on round 290. We are still going strong with one Paragon. When you place this Paragon with the right properties around you, i.e. a fully enclosed area and lots of loops like this thing absolutely crushes balloons. However, I would like to say that trying to chase DDTs is a bit of a waste of time. Always try and hone in on one particular area. So let's say if you have a bunch of ZMGs like that sometimes, previously on round 289, then you're always concentrating your initial shots on a particular area, so therefore DDTs will more than likely be able to catch up to that area and get annihilated. But DDTs are making their way around the track a good 3 loops ahead of the bad, so once the bad reaches down here the 13th time, we are going to be in serious danger, because the DDTs, despite the fact they have far less RBE than the bad, have so much more movement speed, and that movement speed makes them so dangerous. And the fact that we don't have a permanent movement speed decrease is a very bad thing. So this is definitely not the most optimal route when it comes to trying to go for the maximum number of rounds, with the Apex Plasma Master being the only thing that is firing at the balloons. But I would like to say, for the maximum possible round, you're going to see yourself having a lot less pops with the Apex Plasma Master, because you have the Ascended Shadow as a means of permanently removing 25% of all spawned balloons from the start of a track, which means bads will have 25% less health, but it does mean that the DDTs will go at 50% of a rate at all times, which is brilliant, because look at how fast they're going around the track, because that is so frightening. Like, ZOMGs are also a threat in their own ways, because they're tanky in their own ways, but because they're, oh my god, look at that. Look at how many times they went around the loop there. That is frightening. Especially if you don't have initial payload of snowballs around the triangle. Like, and also look how many of these bads there are. That's so bad. Round 292, and we have gone over the 4 billion pop mark. But can we reach half of 10 billion? Which is, of course, 5 billion. So I would say that with the maximum optimization of having the embrittlements and super brittle, having the super glue and glue storm respectively, having the cripple Moab, having every single kind of debuff on the field in order to ensure we do the maximum amount of damage possible with the Apex Plasma Master, you will definitely be able to reach higher rounds. Like, I've only made it part of a way when it comes towards it, and that's only because I wanted to put down stuff that doesn't do damage to the balloons themselves, with the Apex Plasma Master doing all of the damage. So this is not the highest round possible on this map, with this tower being the only thing that is otherwise directly attacking the balloons themselves. So I don't think this is yet coming to play the Legend of the Night. I don't think this thing even gets pops when it does suck up balloons that make it to the very end of the track. It just stops them from being able to actually, you know, exiting the track. So that is a bit of a, oh my god, look at the amount of times that the DTs all bit around. And because of the fact they're fortified as well, it takes twice the number of hits as well. That's frightening. Yeah, we're definitely going to die to a DDT no matter what. If it's not the bad, then it's the thing that spawns out of it, which is the quickest that makes it. Yeah, that's 3.5 times around the loop, and that's just in this DDT form. Oh, dearie me. We have 420 blazed it like 100 million times or so. We're only facing very minimal performance losses at the moment, and that's just because of the sheer amount of activity on the screen. Like, if we're like trying to get every Paragon down and every single kind of tower down that we possibly can, including a BTSG, then the game would be running at a much slower pace. But because we're only doing this with one tower mainly, that means we've only got one set of projectiles to worry about. Also, we're at 4.5 billion pots, which means we only have 440 million left in order to reach that 5 billion market, and we could possibly do this. Oh my god, look at the amount of times the DTs are going around the trap. That is just absolutely frightening. And look at all these bats over here, this triangle. Oh my god, they're not stopping. But neither is our pop count. There's only millions every second, a few millions every second. Whereas if there was like other kind of balloons within this triangle, we'll be getting tens of millions. because we do more damage against stuff that isn't a bad, but with bad, we kind of do less damage against them in comparison to every other kind of balloon. And I think that is also including elite bosses. Like, we would do more damage to elite bosses right now than we're doing against the bad, because the bad has that kind of property to it where the more rounds you go at it, I think the less damage you do against it anyways, or it's just because of the 2% increase to its health as each round goes along, but it makes it feel like you do less damage to it. Or because of the projectiles and how they behave, it's not going to do that. Okay, we are really close to round 300. Can we do this? Can we go past round 300? We've got to get past this round first of 299 before we can go on to round 300. But can we do it? Can we get to round 300? DDTs are popping. The pinata sound effect is going off, which means the DDTs will be annihilated soon after that. Okay, it's just these fortified ones left. These are holding the biggest threat ever, fortified DDTs, and we are still going strong. The Legend of the Night is not yet activated because there was a very small gap in the tree there, and that would be filled up with the void if that was going to be the case. Round 300, here we go. Here live, round 300. The only thing that is popping balloons is the Apex Plasma Master. Will it be able to solo round 300 with only the support of the Glue Storm providing +2 damage to every projectile? But every bit of damage bonus counts. It's the only debuff I'm providing to the screen, by the way. And also as well, just for added chaos, we're going to go back to 100 and look at all that. Yes, it looks more impressive, but on the paper it is not more impressive, and it's probably going to cause a few performance losses here and there. But for my 4090 graphics card, it's not going to be too much of an issue, for goodness sakes here. Round 300 being completed, and the black effect is still not appearing at the very end of the map there, and we are now at the home straight here of round 300, and we have done it. Excellent. We are nearing 4.9 billion pops. Oh dearie me. If you were to tell me how I got to round 300, just say this: play on a very enclosed long map and just put down a level 100 Apex Plasma Master, and most people wouldn't believe you, but until they know, well, they know now, and we are approaching that 5 billion pop mark, and it's all looking very fabulous here on out. Like, I would have something wacky to share, like something that happened throughout the day, or just some profound knowledge that I like to share. Like, I have people commenting saying, like, they appreciate the different things that I kind of talk about within the videos, and that's just, like, one of the most satisfying feelings that I ever get, really. It's when people really enjoy the videos that I create, not just with Bloons TD6 content in and of itself, but also what I include as well. Like, I think with content creators, definitely, it's always about what makes you in particular very unique and what you're able to share with the people that are watching the video, because it's not just the gameplay itself. Oh, we are now at 5 billion pops. It's not just the stuff that you share on the screen, it's also about what you can add to the story. I'm going to say this right now, but every single content creator is kind of like a visual novel. What do you give to the story that enhances its flavor? Or if you have, with some cases unfortunately, a very bad translation quality, it can A, ruin the subject in which it's giving to the player, but B, also provide a bad experience to the player which is not otherwise intended to give to the player. Oh dearie me, yes, I like to read visual novels here and then, but they're also games. Visual novels are games. People say they're not games, they're just very long books, and I say nay. Visual novels are games, thank you very much. you just don't see as that, because that doesn't involve a huge amount of button mashing or so many projectiles on screen. You feel like you have been summoned into a whirlwind, and that whirlwind is chucking you about all over the place, as you are seeing right now. 5.16 billion pops with a single tower on round 303, accumulative around the other rounds as well. But for goodness sakes, we are doing this. We are round 303. We are still going very strong, and the Legend of the Night is not yet activated. Once the Legend of the Night activates, that's going to mean that the next round is going to be pretty much game over. But because of how fast the DTs travel, it means it probably has enough time active to be able to soak up all of the DTs on that round in which there are left. Yes, fortified ZMGs. A tough bunch to crack normally. But with our level 100 Apex Plasma Master, we are sure to go to the finish line here without having to worry about these slow juggernauts, and just worry about the even bigger juggernauts, along with the little fast little minxes that spawn out of the big Ultra Juggernaut baddies of the bads. Yes, the big airship of doom. You realize what that bad stands for? Big airship of doom. And they are definitely going to bring doom. And it's not sometimes them that brings the doom. It's the DDTs that bring the doom with it. And that is why DDTs are sometimes even more dangerous than the bad. Because while the bad cannot be stunned, it cannot be slowed down aside from the time-stopped power, which is a thing, by the way. And in one particular update, there was a bug with the cleansing foam in which you would be able to put down the cleansing foam and it would be able to slow down bads for some odd reason. I don't know how these bugs come up, but that is one of the mystical arts of Ninja Kiwi, and goddamn, I am always happy to see these things, not because they're intentional, but because it makes the game more diverse and interesting. Also, as you can see, we produce very little amount of money for this stage of the game. Like, you would think on round 305 you'll be able to make millions, but as time goes on, each pop you get gets way and way less when it comes to its numerical value of money gain, which is why in ultra late game 99% of the money that you acquire throughout the round is from your Monkeyopolis, it's from your monkey farms, it's from your banana central, it's from your banana research facilities, it's through every other means of getting pops outside, so every other means of getting money outside of pops, because trying to get money from pops is not that advisable. Which is why I think if you're going to go for an all Paragon scenario and you're trying to get as many Paragons as possible at level 100 as quickly as possible, building yourself a very big and expensive Monkeyopolis is the only way forward. Like hundreds of thousands of monkey monies invested into a single Monkeyopolis in order to try and generate as much money from each crate as possible is the only way forward. Because you need to get enough money out of each round in order to be able to get to that point. And if you don't get to that point, well, you're going to kind of be stuffed, especially with Paragons like the Goliath Doom Ship and the Magus Perfectus, which I think are the two most expensive Paragons throughout the entire game. Nothing's like Master Builder, third most expensive. Fourth is the Knave Ark of the Seas. Some of the reason it's cheaper than a Paragon that is significantly inferior to it, but I'm not too sure on how Ninja Kiwi comes up with the prices, but I do understand why the Goliath Doom Ship is the most expensive, but it's also the best Paragon to use against bosses because of its carpet bomb ability. Which I don't know if that's the official name for it, but that's the name I'm giving it simply because you are laying down a carpet of bombs on the track. And speaking of bombs, all of these balls that we're firing out of this, and we're fast reaching 6 billion pops, by the way. All of the bombs that are produced by this thing is very minuscule on their own, but together they are like a bunch of hornets or a swarm of hornets, and they will plague you. Unless, of course, you're one of these fortified bads where you can just shrug off damage like if it's nothing, and you just... It's like if you throw enough stuff at a wall, some of it will stick. something like that. And yes, I am talking because I feel like it's gonna be the end quite soon, not from a bad, but from these DDTs that will soon make their way to the end of the track here. And that's round 307, done and dusted. Can we make 6 billion pops? There is only one way to find out, and that is by trying to go through the end game here with as much velocity as possible and with as little lag as possible, hopefully. But round 308 usually will be an absolute slog when it comes to performance, and within my usual videos of doing like all Paragon solo, it would be a slog. It will take multiple minutes to complete the round, but guess what? I stick for it. I stick for it for personal gain, but I also do it for myself as well. People are going to bed, so that's what I'm going to quiet down now. But it is a personal gain, and it's one that I am very proud of for doing, despite the fact that it takes hours to both record and hours to completely finish the editing, because I want it to be something that is very proud of both myself and something that people can watch and be very impressed by. Like, I always have to accelerate the playback rate of the video itself so that you're able to see what's going on, and because the game lags, you're able to still see somewhat of what goes on and be able to see, like, hey, he's doing this, hey, he's doing that. Like, on my previous ones, outside of my 7th one, I always done it so it's like, okay, I just gotta have the video as fast as possible so that you're able to get through as much as possible and be able to make the video as tightly compact as possible. But there are some things in life where you don't really want to get to the end goal as quickly as possible, but able to absorb the journey that you go through, and within that journey you're able to discover things in which you may otherwise not be able to discover if you skipped ahead in time. Which is why I think if you skipped ahead in time right about now to see the end result, then it ruins the surprise, really. It ruins the journey. It ruins that what if factor. What round does he get to by going through the journey and not just going from the beginning to the end there? So that kind of thing. It's always about the journey, not just the start goal and the end goal. Like with any kind of these ultra late game strategies, the beginning is so important. Like, getting your setup is so important. Trying to maximize the amount of money that you get per round is so important. And even to this stage, like getting like most of the Paragons, you still need to have some kind of income coming in. Even if it's like reduced, which is like just from your Monkey-opolis and a single banana, banana central, sorry, and then like your Monkey Wall Street, which is very nice sometimes because you get a fixed amount of money every round. But yeah, it's always about the journey for me, and I feel like if people just skip to the end, then you miss on a lot of very important details, like how did he get to that certain end point? How did he manage to do all that? And oh, we've gone past the 6 million marker now. That is juicy. Yeah, going to around a 310. So I feel like we don't have a lot left when it comes to the amount of rounds. It could be round 320. We could end this off at possibly, just because the amount of health that they're gaining and how fast they're going at. It's going to be the DDTs that will kill me for sure. It's always going to be the DDTs when it comes to ultra late game, just simply because maybe able to pop the bad, but then the DDT will be able to make it to the end of the line here. And we don't have anything like an absolute zero or super glue or anything that could just stall the DDTs here and there. We just have what we have here. We have a maximum amount of firepower, and we have every single kind of non-damaging support tower that we could possibly have that doesn't add damage in its own way, but it's just this that is doing the damage. Also alongside that, the super brittle and embrittlements and cripple Moabs will be able to get a surprising number of pops. Okay, so that run out. Ooh, okay. I think it's also down to luck as well as to what spawns in the round. Because I did a test game of this and I was able to get another 3 rounds later, so like 314 was the mark. So with these ultra late game rounds, it is down to what balloons the game decides to send at you. And I feel like because of the fact we've got so many fortified bads out there, it means that per projectile the pierce cap was being met. So therefore we could do as much damage as we possibly could. So I think that's definitely down to that. It's definitely down to pierce cap as well as just damage. But look at that. Oh my god, we were 4 million away from 6.2 billion pops. And that's the kind of thing I was going for here. Not the maximum number of rounds, but the maximum number of pops that we could otherwise get. I would think actually with Ascended Shadow you could possibly get more because of the fact that the non-bads are going at half the speed that they normally would, including the children that would spawn out of a bad. So I think in some theoretical way you could possibly get more pops than we would, but you definitely get more rounds. But when it comes to pops, there's a question mark. So that's why I was only going like with Bloon Sabo and Glue Storm. Legends of the Night must have saved us at round 310, but when it came to 311, that was it. Its passive ability has a really long cooldown, so that's why I didn't come back for that. DDTs honestly are the thing that will kill us. And also the rare Quincy action figures made 10 million. That's just awesome. So that is it, folks. My record for this is round 311 on this map. Not with the maximum optimization, but I'd say we're about 85% or 90% of the way there when it comes to optimization. Majority of the optimization is this tower in of itself. So yeah, folks. I know that you can go further with this if you have some embrittlements and the super brittles somewhere along these triangles. I'd say I'll probably have 6 actually. One here, one in the far corner there, one below the apex, one in this bottom right corner, one on the right hand side here, and one on top here. And then I'll have a super glue, like probably on the left hand side here, just as a clutch tower to have so that it freezes any like fortified DDTs in place. You probably could shower this entire area with shattering shells in order to be able to remove the fortified status off of any DDTs that would come about this place. But then again, does it actually remove the fortified DDTs, or do you require balloon incineration for that? It definitely removes it off of the anything but the biggest of balloons. So that's definitely a factor in of itself here. Oh dear. Okay, anyways, this video's gone on for long enough. We lost to a fortified DDT. That is what I thought we were going to lose to. They're just super speedy, so that is in and of itself. And also this map was created by myself, Ultra Jug 1TC. I completed this on hard chimps, and I did it with an Ultra Juggernaut, so that is definitely an interesting fact. And we're still stuck in a void. Ninja Kiwi, why have you not fixed this? And why have you not fixed Brickles' naval tactics as well when it comes to non-default water terrains? Thank you so much for watching and take care of yourselves, everybody.